All rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just keep standing for a moment of silence for veterans. Call the meeting order. The mayor's running a little late, so bear with me. Never ran a meeting before. We're going to start out. Recommended action that the minutes of the regular meeting on March 18th, 2025 be approved as presented.
Make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Recommended action, the minutes of the reorganizational meeting on April 7th, 2025 be approved as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. At this time, we're going to open a budget hearing. It is 6:01. I'll need a motion from the board. Motion, we open the budget.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Transfers between appropriations. Recommended action. The village board approve the following transfers between appropriations.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, approved claims. Recommended action. The following claims be approved by the clerk, instructed to draw checks therefore. General fund, water fund, sewer fund, capital water treatment plant upgrades. Entertain a motion?
Motion.
Well, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public discussion. Anybody here like to speak? Okay. Do you want to stand up?
Sure. We were just wondering if there's any update to the issues that were discussed at the last meeting regarding the packaging company and the dust and the stuff in the air and all that.
Yes, we have discussed it. We are in the process of talking to an attorney to see what our options are and if we're missing anything, what we can and can't do, basically. If that helps at all. Well, if you guys want to add anything on that.
Well, I wasn't here last meeting, but I was able to see the Zoom. I can just say that, you know, we are going to work hard in this. It's an issue that needs to be taken care of. We are doing a lot of things, talking to a lot of people. We had, I think, some pretty good progress on what we're doing. And we're just going to keep going forward.
I think that's all.
And if we can, if we have some positive, you know, news or steps, we'll keep everybody informed. But it is, I think the board has recognized that we need to take action, and that is what we're going to be doing.
We had a attorney recommended to us and we're pursuing that now.
So you said progress, what kind of progress?
I'm just talking what, you know, talking progress of the board taking positive action to take the steps we need to do to get some resolution to the issue. There's been talks with the DEC, there's been talks with the health department, there's been talks with a lot of different parties, and just to see what actions we can and need to take.
But I guess what we need from you guys is just continue to let us know if there's complaints, so we can address them when they happen.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I got some questions, and it's tough for me, I'm with friends on both sides, okay? Now, I've talked to Shannon about this, and I told Shannon that I would stand beside him as long as he did what he told me he was gonna do. And through that process, the process is to get permits, okay? And I have not been able to talk to her, I have not talked to Shannon since. He said that that was in the workings, so is that in the workings? And that permit has to come through the village first, so has that been done? If this process is in process or ongoing, has that already been done?
I got it at 2:56 this afternoon, asking for a permit, emailed to me that I was asked to.
Okay, then he's staying, that he's,
Well, I asked for it a month ago.
What's that?
I asked for it a month ago, and every time that I was asked to do anything, I was on the line with a lawyer. So I ended up making it so I could email. I asked for a bunch of drawings that were sent to the health department, but not to the Village of Attica that owns the water lines. I'm kind of rather upset about it because it's not the health department's lines, it's our lines. I need to know, Justin needs to know how the hell it's gonna be done. So I am rather upset about this, that I asked for something and I don't get it. I started this in 2018. I did it again last summer, and I asked for it a month ago, and I did it at 2:45 today. Rather upset.
and there's another thing, and I have talked to Johnny Perry about this, and I understand exactly where Johnny stands. When them guys got that big trucks to come around the corner, and Johnny's got a DI right there, am I right? And they're worried about that. The parking at the end of that road is unsafe. I understand why they're doing it, but something has got to be done there too. So
I don't know what,
there's
Scotty,
other
I don't know what we
streets,
can
there's
do
other
there.
streets, They can make it 100 feet, just so somebody, there's twice I've been stuck, I went to make that corner, and you're stuck out there. I just don't want to see some kid get hurt. I understand why they're doing it. I get it.
but there's no signs there that says you can't park there. So we,
And they're
correct me if I'm
totally
wrong,
right.
Dean, but we can't send Dean or a police officer
No,
there
they're,
to tell
I'm
him to
not
move his
saying
car.
that. They are totally in the right to do it. But we've also changed it on different streets in the village. And I think all streets, it shouldn't be 20 feet or 25 feet. Every street should be at least 100 feet. And that's something the village can change. And it's more of a safety thing than anything.
Well, you know, there's two sides to every story, and two sides are trying to do what they need to do. I'm gonna just make a comment that, you know what, no one wants to drive a business out of this village. But you gotta follow rules if you're gonna be in the village, okay? And
I get it.
and a lot of times those rules aren't being followed. That's why last month we had 40 people here. That's why people said they're getting sick, their pets are getting sick. And it's been an ongoing problem for a long time, okay?
Chris,
And
you're misunderstanding me.
I
I agree with you
understand.
100%.
Right.
I don't like that either. Absolutely. And all I want to know is it being followed through? And like I said.
well, if we just got the permit at 2:45 today, the permit request,
And it should have been in there, wow,
it
absolutely.
should have been in here in 2018.
Well, okay, well, I'm just saying what I talked to a month ago,
No,
so.
now it's in, now we address it, okay?
Can I say something?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Cool. Hi, everybody. My name's Eric Such. I'm the news trustee here. In my brief tenure here, I know that from what I've been able to gather, the community is very concerned about this. The board is very concerned about this. And there's been a lot of communication between members of the board and Shannon and that business. And so I think in my short tenure here, I think we're all trying to do right by the community, do right by small businesses in our community, and just trying to find that balance. I know I keep using that word a lot, but the board, in my conversations with everyone here, has absolutely heard the concerns from the community. And I think we really are trying to make every effort to do it fairly. I do realize that sometimes things don't happen necessarily as fast as we would like them to, but yes, you've all been heard, and we very much are taking those into consideration. And that's just I've been here 10 days maybe, and so that's what I've been able to pick up in these 10 days, but it's certainly something that's very much on everyone's radar.
Johnny?
If I could just touch on, actually from the February minutes, regarding the same issue, but the damage to the corner of Jackson. Now that everything's melted, the potholes, the storm drain destroyed, the gutters destroyed. I don't know if it's my yard or the village's yard between the sidewalk and the road destroyed. Is there any updates on how that gets fixed, when that gets fixed, who pays to have that fixed? I mean, it's village property, but it's not the village's fault, and it's not the village's, it should be their expense.
The state highway right away. Owns New York State.
In the main,
The state of New York owns Main Street.
Yep.
That's their highway.
Yep.
They have,
Sure.
that's their right of way between the sidewalk and the road.
Sure, and that's no problem. When I have to maintain it, right, I have to mow it, whatever, keep it looking nice, but I can't mow it because it's a crater. You know, and that's one of the reasons why I park my truck there, not only to protect my property that I maintain, but to protect the village storm drain and the village gutter. So I just didn't know if there was an update on, you know, that was the February minutes, I brought that up, I didn't know if there was anything.
Well, what I'll do is we'll address it. We'll send a letter to them and see if they're willing to fix it. I'm sure they would.
You said that's the corner of Jackson, right?
Jackson and Maine.
Okay.
Oh, Brittany is here. Would you guys mind fixing that area? Okay. We'll send a letter. We'll make it official. Does that suffice?
Thank you.
Anything else on this issue? I apologize for being late. I had a funeral service to go to, but I got here as quick as I could.
And that spot in particular, is that, Craig, is that maintained by the village or the state?
Yeah.
It is the village.
Which we do go around and fix spots that they're damaged by, you know, the trackless or the sidewalk cleaner and stuff, so.
But if the storm drain is damaged, how do we fix that? Is that what you said, Johnny, the storm drain is?
Yeah, no, it's destroyed.
Is the storm drain destroyed?
Water doesn't drain.
Water doesn't go in it, so I would consider it.
Water's not going in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you take a look at it tomorrow? and
Like
let us
the
know?
catch basin.
And Craig's gonna look at it tomorrow. Let us know the status on it.
Anybody else? Questions or comments?
Okay. All right, moving up, where are we at?
Public discussion. Next
Where are we at? Oh, okay. So move on to the committee reports. Oh, I didn't even know Matt. Yeah, listen to Matt. How you doing? I wish we were a little better.
Oh.
Yeah, come on up. Yeah.
All right.
Hope you got better news.
I don't have any good news, actually.
Hmm.
I wish I were joking about it.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Higgins. I'm a civil engineer with Labella Associates out of Rochester. I'm here with my colleague Derek Burgess, who's also a civil engineer who's been with us every step of the way on the water plant improvement project, as well as helping behind the scenes on the transmission main project. And I wanted to give you an update on recent happenings in both of those projects. I think the water plant one will be a bit longer of a discussion, so if it's okay with you, I'll just give a quick update about the transmission main project with the town and kind of address that one and then go to the water plant. So the biggest thing to mention about the transmission main project is that we had a really productive discussion and meeting this afternoon with both town officials and village officials, including Chris and Brenda and Matt and, some others in the room here. The next steps for that project are largely on the town side regarding town water district formation. And just to refresh everybody's general memory about this project, the project involves constructing a new transmission main westward along Dunbar, a little stub north on Exchange Street, and then running north on Route 98. So for the village, it would provide a redundant way to get drinking water from the treatment plant to the village, because the existing two lines are very old and one of them cuts through one of the correctional facilities in a way that makes access and repair if needed really challenging. And along its route, it would serve about 77 parcels, 67 in the town and 10 in the village. And so what's going on right now is we are drafting a document called a map, plan, and report, which the town will then take, and that'll be the document that summarizes the district itself, both physically and financially. They'll have to take it around to the 67 town, owners of those 67 parcels in the town, to ask them to sign a petition in support of forming the district. So those are the first steps. So we had I think a productive discussion today with the town and village and our project team. And our next goal is to have that map plan and report to everyone early May, first couple days of May. And then it'll be up for review by everyone, but the primary reviewers will be the town attorney, Mark Dadd, and the town folks. And then it will be ready along with a petition that Mark will write to be circulated to those residents to request their support on the town's behalf to form the district. So those are far from those are just the initial steps the town will have to take, but that's where it is at right now.
Is the ball rolling with them?
Yes, so I was encouraged today. Trustee Fugel was here from the town board, and then Mark was here. Mark has experience forming water districts. He said the most recent one he did was, I think, 4 years ago. So it's been a little while. And we're going to give him some resources based on recent ones we've helped communities with. So I think everyone was really motivated to have the meeting, to continue coordinating with each other. And I would say the thorniest issue that the communities are jointly having to deal with, and that will require some work from the village and the village attorney, Tim Moran, is the issue of the existing town residents near the intersection of Dunbar and Exchange, who are served with village water through kind of long ago handshake agreements. And the issue related to transitioning those folks, certainly if they willingly transition to the new main and tie into it, then that's great. That's the ideal scenario. If they voice opposition or decline to connect to the new main, then there are some issues that Tim Moran is going to look into himself and get some advice from various, I think he mentioned the Conference of Mayors. He's going to ask for their advice about it, because there's potentially some legal implications to, although it's a handshake agreement, there's a history of those folks being served with village water. And does the village have the right to just terminate it? Even with giving those folks the ability to connect to the brand new main, which will be running right along the road in front of their parcel. So he's going to get back to us. It's not one that we've confronted before, and I think it is, at its heart, a legal issue. So,
An odd situation.
but it's an odd situation. It presents some liability to the village, in my opinion, because there's limited oversight or access to those folks receiving the water. If something were to go wrong, there's probably slightly lesser water quality because they're small lines serving multiple homes. Folks there are probably getting a deal on their water service, because sometimes there are several parcels or several homes being served and only 1 meter. So they're not paying, base rate for each house. So there's some issues there that I think it'd be best to be brought up to current standards of, potable water connection, but we need to clear the legal hurdles before we address that piece. So yeah, other than that, I think the ball is in the town's court. So, any questions on that particular one? I know, Eric, this is new for you, but
I'll catch up.
I'm
Don't worry.
happy. I'd be happy to talk further and give you
Yeah,
a lot longer history of it. Okay, so transitioning to the water plant improvement project, the village concluded its bidding period last Tuesday and opened bids from bidders for the project on Tuesday afternoon, sitting right over at the table there. Opened the bids, read them publicly. Due to New York State WICS law, it's required that the construction work be separated into 4 prime contracts. So general, electrical, mechanical, like HVAC, and plumbing. Electrical is the only contract that received more than 1 bid. So we received 3 bids, each from a different contractor for the electrical contract, and then 1 each for the other 3. So a total of 6 bids received for those 4 contracts. So really, I want to summarize bid, numbers, but like a low level of, we hoped for better competition. Our estimate, so big numbers first, our estimate going in was that the total of the bids would be around 12 or 13 million. So when we added the associated costs for the project, like engineering fees, financial fees, legal, admin, contingency, the total would be around the $16 or $17 million mark in total. Instead of our estimated sum, 12, 13 million, the sum of the apparent low bids across those 4 contracts was just shy of 22. So like 10, $9 to $10 million higher.
How do you get that far off?
What we've done since then, so the electrical construction contract was in the range we predicted. It came in at 1.6. We thought it would be between 1.5 and 1.8. The other 3 were way off. So we spoke with the contractors that bid the general construction, the plumbing construction, and the mechanical construction contracts. We spoke with them, and then we spoke with one bidder who chose at the last minute to not submit a bid for the general construction contract. Just to summarize some of the bids, some of their feedback, because obviously we want to hear from them, because clearly we did not get it right. So they were highlighting some concerns they had about. They expressed that it's a small site, it's a challenging site. It's on the side of a hill. There's not a lot of room to stage. There's a lot going on at the same time. The plant has to remain online throughout. So it's the construction sequence that we outlined due to keeping the plant online, which is it's the typical sequence for this type of project where the plant has to stay online while you upgrade it. It involves doing something here, then finishing it, putting it online, doing something here, a lot of moving pieces. So they expressed that while the sequencing was clear, it's just a lot of it. It's not like you can tear everything down and just rebuild in a way that gives them a lot of flexibility to do it however they would want to do it.
Is that unique though? I mean, is this not?
It's not, none of this is unique, but it's all contributing to high pricing. None of it, it's definitely not unique. They mentioned there was a requirement that in the bid package, we said any contractor submitting a bid has to hold it for 100 days. So if they say my bid's 10 million, they have to hold that price for 100 days, which would give the village the opportunity to update the bond resolution number, which takes about 3 months. So like 100 days gives a tiny bit of buffer. In speaking with BPD about that, the challenge with that is, there's everyone knows there's uncertainty in the commodity market right now, that unfortunately maybe peaked last like Monday or Tuesday. And in holding a bid for that long, which was the village had no choice but to do that. It's not like a requirement that could have been done away with beforehand. Contractors can only hold open so many bids at the same time before it starts eating into their capacity financially to submit new bids. So the bidder who chose not to bid the general construction contract said that was the reason why. That he didn't have enough bonding capacity to submit a bid and hold it open for 100 days, or else he'd basically have to not bid anything else for the summer. So all of these things are contributors, and this is just things that they told to us when we're trying to press them after the fact about why were your prices so high. So it's an information gathering process for us. Is there anything I missed, Derek?
I think one other thing I'd add is, time of year that it was kind of predicated upon when we were receiving DOH approvals. Our typical timeline for bidding is, I don't know if Matt has mentioned this in the past, but in the fall. That is because all the contractors are lining up work, so that could have a contributing factor as far as number of bidders that we got per contract. Normally, we like to see 2 to 3 bids per contract. That helps us right size what, against our estimate a little bit more. Just having one prime for the GC, that person could have come in much, much higher than what the real cost could be. So that's another reason for that.
Yeah, with low competition, it's almost a name your price type of situation. It's like it's like anything. If you know that you're naming what you're going to get paid for something and nobody's competing to do that job for it with you, but at my core, I don't believe that. I mean, the firms that bid these jobs are reputable contractors. I don't believe that they just picked a number out of a hat and added a couple $1 million and threw it at the village. Like, I think we were in the conversations after the fact, we pressed them on certain aspects of their estimating and how they got to their numbers and all this, trying to get to the bottom of, because those conversations, on the one hand, you want them to tell you, if you change these 5 things, they'll save you $1 million each, and you can go back and rebid, and that'll be the kind of the magic bullets. You would feel awful about not knowing that before the fact, but then you'd at least think, well, that's a clear path forward. In these conversations, there was no real, other than bidding it in the fall, trying to avoid a situation where it has to be held for 100 days open. There was no real clarity as far as these are some easy things that, from our perspective, the contractors, really drove up costs on our end.
Was a lack of
Which is
contractors. I know
frustrating.
we discussed at the beginning, because of the Bill Stadium, a lot of contractors are going to be on that project.
I think it has some effect on the market, and I think the market is the most challenging part of the construction cost estimating to understand. Because we have resources to go into a database and figure out how much a 20-foot stick of pipe is going to cost. But it's much harder to understand an estimator's feeling of, maybe there's a tick lower competition, or maybe it's maybe there's a premium based on type of site, size of site. It's on a hill. The one thing in reflecting with our team, the major piece of the project was constructing an addition onto the existing building so that it would fit the new treatment equipment to provide proper treatment. The treatment units are like the new generation of what the plant has now. So there's no reintroducing the wheel or anything. It's just the latest model of the, it's not the same exact manufacturer, but that manufacturer has been purchased since '84 and basically transitioned into who's making them now. But it's basically an upgraded version of what you have now and making it fit within the building and adding UV disinfection on the back end of it. In reflecting with our buildings folks about, we poked them before the bid about, are there any material savings? Can we make this simpler? Can we use cheaper materials? Can we drive the price down in some way? Having that conversation again with them after the fact, earlier this week, the feedback from them was that the village has this nice, steel and masonry facility right now. It's a really heavy duty facility, like built into the hill there, built in the 84. And the intent with the addition was to, as far as materials, match what's there, so that this nice building, it's like a 50, 60-year building. It's a long-term, not going anywhere, steel, masonry, it's going to be there. And you're going to change equipment in and out, but otherwise that building is there. And so as we transition to the topic of like what to do now, because there are the realities that Matt can address about, the current treatment system it cannot continue forever. Like the no action, the do nothing alternative is, not feasible. But there's a necessity to bring costs down to to an approachable level. A lot of the talks since then with Matt and with Derek, and with members of our team back at the office is related to not adding onto that existing building with those same materials, but building some sort of less expensive structure elsewhere, like across the street next to the lagoons or something like that, where could it take the form of something like a pole barn or pre-engineered metal building, which requires more maintenance. Maybe it's going to have a lifetime of 25 to 35 years, but it's not going to last as long as like the masonry structure that you have now that we're trying to match. But perhaps that's the direction we have to go in the wake of this. Because to this point, I'm not seeing a clear path to take what we have. And I mean, we thought it'd be 12 to 13 million. It was 22. So like, if we do something and we get it from 22 to 20, it's the same thing, right? So with the current design, I don't want this to be the end all of it, but I'm not seeing, based on our team's input and contractor feedback, that there's a way to shave half of that down. So it leaves us, and Matt and Derek, you can come up and transition to speaking, but leaves us contemplating like larger scale differences or ways forward.
Yeah, I came back at 5 o'clock to speak with Matt and Derek about it. I really think that even you, Nate, talked once and said we're having a brand new suit, putting sneakers on. So we talked quite a bit about it. We want to look down the road of possibly seeing if you guys are okay. He said Derek said it wouldn't cost too much to try to design something, because we have most of the design done already, keeping all the filter system, the UV light, everything that we need to make good water across the street in like a pole barns type style. It does suck because it'll be a pole barn. I mean, there'll be maintenance on it, but I'm thinking about the quality of water. I really, that's the most important thing. I don't care if I'm in a brick building or if I'm in a cardboard box. Our office can stay up at top. We can demo the old water plant. There can be cold storage for the DPW equipment. in the wintertime, we can utilize that building. It'll stay there. We'll just put garage doors in it, and use it for storage. But we need to shave off 10 million.
Yeah.
Because our number was 15 million tops. And we think, we're not sure. We
Started
didn't
out at
run any
11.6,
numbers.
then it went up to what?
It started out at 11.1. Not that I want to point that out, but
Yeah, and then it went up to.
I'm not going to run from it either.
Then it went to 15.8.
Yeah.
So we need to see what it's gonna take to produce the water. But it might be in a lesser grade building. And from what the contractor said, they're over there building a building, so the price will come down when I'm still running the water plant we have. So they're not working around my chemicals, they're not working around our everyday work. They're just, after it's done, they turn it on for so many days, they say, yep, the water's good. We switch lines over and we start off the new plant. And then winter after winter, we work at salvaging out the old filters and making it so we can use it for something else, repurpose it.
I know even the beginning of the discussion was to build a plant over there. And
It was too much money, but we were talking
Yeah.
brick.
I remember we,
maybe by then, 20 years down the road, Pam's mayor, maybe build it down there, maybe a possibility.
Well, and there's add-on down there. So there's a lot of positives. There's add-on down there. If we had to add on carbon filtration at the tail end, like in 5 years when the health department tells me I have to do that, we can add on to that building. Once we add the sign up on the top of the hill, we're done.
Yeah.
We ran out of room. And we're on a hill and deliveries will be safer. And I'm pretty sure, I would look into it, but I think it would save the village a ton of tax money because we'd be no longer producing water on town property, we'd be producing water on state property. So I know our tax bill's like 80,000 a year, but we would get the easement from the state to be on their property to produce water. So there might be some.
So is the
savings there.
goal to brainstorm, come up with some ideas where we can shave, and
Yeah,
then hopefully bid it out again in the fall?
our goal is,
So that hopefully we don't run into the problem of low competition and.
we even hashed a bunch of stuff over there. Derek was like, were you guys willing to maybe do some of this construction, do some of the site work, rent dozers, doing some of the stuff, pre-site work to get it down to that number? And we definitely are. I mean, we would do whatever it takes to get it going. We're talking about a drying bed. Maybe we will do that instead of a lagoon.
Yeah, realistically, we're trying to take, as we've been brainstorming since this bidding period, what we're trying to do is make it so we have this whole layout that was bid out in the existing building. How can we utilize that layout without a ton of extra engineering costs to kind of put it, almost mirror it down across the road? So that way we keep the layout the same, all of that the same. What we would propose to do, and what we talked about before the meeting would be kind of get something to like a 30% preliminary design phase and be able to compare that back to the numbers that we received during bid to see how much savings are we actually talking about. So that way we're not going into a full design, expending money on a full design before we know, yes, this is going to give you savings on that. So what we would propose is something on the preliminary scale through the summer, probably, to kind of put together what we think that layout's going to look like down. And we started kicking around some ideas about potentially doing away with the lagoons and going to a sludge drying bed, taking the pump station and maybe we can actually put those pumps within the building itself so we can keep everything in one location. So you go from 2 structures down to 1. So we have some options out there. We'd like to kick around those ideas. But really that's kind of what we're thinking right now is kind of a preliminary phase design / estimate to kind of get a comparison from the bids we received this spring to see if there would be some realistic cost savings for the village prior to going into a full redesign, which full redesign being utilizing a lot of the layouts, a lot of the design we've already done because we're trying to have the same footprint, if that makes sense.
And we got approval, basically we got approval from the health department to use all that filtration. We don't want to go through that process again.
Did I miss anything, Matt?
no, I think just, I'm not sure how, when the last time all of you visited down there, but this is the existing building that the current this is just existing conditions. There's no design of anything new on this sheet, but this building was due to be expanded a little bit out that way, and new treatment unit processes put in here. So what Derek was expressing is we have a full design for this building, all the guts, everything inside of it. So finding a way to leverage this area over here before it gets super steep going up this way to accomplish everything that needs to be accomplished. And so there are some real pros, like based on the initial conversation, because just that questions we have that we don't have answers to yet, but that's the concept, but having everything instead of up here.
So I think what you're looking for is for us to say, hey, go back to the drawing board, try to.
We have no choice.
Yeah, we just I wanted to be on the board to understand what's going on. That's why I asked Matt and Derek both to be here, because I'm pulled all of my crap in my head with this. So, I mean, it's been a long process, and I'm.
Well, I'll say this,
Over that.
I was at the bid opening and it was extremely disappointing.
It was.
We all had a number in our head, and first bid you opened put us over.
Yeah.
Almost over.
First bid was
No,
The
it
general
did.
contractor was over 15 million.
Yeah.
It's like, Matt's doing math in his head, and it's like, we're getting up there in numbers.
And one more thing that I don't think I've mentioned, I mean, we did look at, is there any way that we could, phase the existing plan or parse it out so it wouldn't be as much burden on taxpayers? I mean, it's just all gotta get done at once. Like, there's no realistic way. So trying to shoehorn in something of the existing building, like doing it in 2 parts or something, it's just, we don't view it as feasible. It's kind of, I mean, I'm a proponent, and I believe Matt's a proponent to this, do it once, do it right sort of thing. That way you keep all of your equipment replacements on the same schedule, things like that. It's not like 10 years down the road, oh, we got to do this, so we got to, set something up for 25 years of success, be done with it. So that way you guys can just maintain that.
Do you have any questions?
Not right now. Yeah. A little hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It blows my mind how be that far off.
And a lot of their comments backwards, the site. That is the comments back, they're putting they're taking the roof off. They're putting a filter in, they're putting a temporary roof on. They're taking the roof off, putting the other filter on, and putting a permanent roof on. And they gotta have cranes in there every time on a hillside. There's just a lot of pieces there that just jack up the prices. The only way I really thought, and I talked to Derek last week on it, is something somewhere else so we can keep on producing water when they're building it. And I even told them tonight, I mean, we don't even need offices in there. We're getting a very good SCADA. We'll keep our office where it is up in the barn now. Like, I really don't care what it has in it as long as it produces the water.
Yeah. Well, we got to do it.
I think constructability, as Matt was saying, is a big thing. Being able, we're going through this with a couple of different clients, but rehabbing an existing building and being able to build something offline from a contractor's perspective, it's much more advantageous to be able to build something offline. So we're hopeful that, we can get some good estimates off of something preliminary down there. There's some savings.
So I'm sure it's going to work with us on some pricing on our fees as well.
And on that vein, there's a balance here because we want to be cautious about taking too superficial of a look at it and then recommending something, and then you do it, and then we're opening bids again that are 21 million.
Yeah.
So it's on my mind, or quite a bit, that there's a certain level confidence, depth we're going to have to go to and to achieve the confidence to be comfortable with understanding is that or any other path better than what we have, and we're optimistic about finding something given what we opened last week, but
We got a lot of
If
money
we-
tied up into
yeah.
this, and we had a lot of faith in you guys
Yeah.
for this, so we're
yeah,
hoping you guys do sharpen your pencils and find something that will be
Yeah.
feasible for us so that it can work in our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So.
yeah, understood.
That's it. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Public safety?
Ready. Since the last time we met, I've got an update on Officer Haynes and the academy. He initially had registered for GCC. In the meantime, he's found out that Cat County has an academy and that he will be going to Cat County. It's around the corner from his house, basically, rather than traveling from there all the way to Batavia to attend. Unfortunately, we're out of time. So as of May 24th, he'll be going to part-time. Officer Jennings is on the list, reachable, to fulfill a full-time spot here. So we're not going to be down a man. They're basically just going to be swapping positions. And I'm going to make it clear to Officer Haynes that I'm not holding a full-time job open for you. It is what it is. As a department, we got to move on. And we're just out of time. So, since the last time we met, we've answered 315 complaints. We've had 10 motor vehicle accidents, 4 domestics. Our fraud are up 7. 25 vehicle stops with 54 traffic tickets. We've assisted fire and EMS 15 times. We had 1 mental 941 arrest, took to the hospital, 2 funeral escorts. Our door-to-door sales complaints are starting to springtime. They're coming out. So I'm asking that possibly the village put on their website and alert the residents that if you get somebody knocking on your door, so call it in. Let us know. We'll track them down, and they got to come to the board and ask for a permit. It'll help us tremendously. We assisted the fire department with the serial alarm on Sokol Drive Apartments and found out that the actual alarm are placed in all of the complex's hot water tank rooms. And Jay Myers took the alarm out and looked at it. Portable alarm. Batteries were exploded in it. Hadn't been changed since 2017. So I give Jay a lot of credit for going in depth and looking into it, rather than saying, "Oh, change your batteries in your alarm," where there's 28 apartments in there. So we made the building manager and maintenance people know, you gotta go check your, and they went and they replaced it. So that was a good thing. Our current sex offender case, I've added 3 additional felony charges lodged against him. So that's a total of 4. Fraud complaints are on the rise. I would like to get a public message to the community, basically telling them, you get a phone call or anything, an email, don't give your personal information out. Don't offer your banking information out to anybody. Confirm with your banking institution. And if it's a family member that says, I've been arrested or I've been injured, follow up before you do anything. We've been, knock on wood, we've been lucky. We haven't had a huge loss in a very long time, and I want to keep it that way. But our fraud complaints are going up. We assisted a family with a family court OOP, and they had a family member that has mental health issues. Pick up some really nasty messages to him. So, and it wasn't criminal. Didn't rise to the occasion
of criminal and Maryland judge telling them, okay, you gotta go see somebody else. We walked them through the family court process and they were able to get a order of protection, which is good. We assisted DPW with a tree fell on power lines on Glenwood, Justin. As we're waiting for national fuel, a good wind gust came up and blew the tree off the lines. Didn't break any lines, and they were able to go in there, chop it up, and we cleared. So worked out good. We're looking into an harassment of a village employee. Our spring cleanup has begun. We've identified 10 unregistered motor vehicles throughout the village, and letters are being sent out for the 10-day notice to get them registered and or removed and or into a barn or a garage. We have a continuing problem at 28 West Main Street. It's an apartment house. A huge disturbance over the weekend, and we were fortunate enough to file charges. They're coming to court, and we're going to be filing additional charges. We've had 2 counterfeit money complaints so far. They're just $20 bills. One's obvious. You look at it, it says for Hollywood only. So we're keeping an eye on that. And I knew that, or 2 complaints. One was doing it. I was standing next, and they basically told him that one of his friends paid him $20,000 to murder him. He goes, but I'll take $200 for you to cancel the contract. Yeah, what are you gonna do? So I told him, I said, text him back, say, oh my God, where do I meet you? And he didn't fall for it. So we went through the FBI on that one, and our perpetrator lives in Africa. So it's out of our purview, unfortunately. Miss Hammond and Joanne Major passed away at Gateway. And then Christine, who I'm not going to, Grower, passed away at her home on Sokol Drive. And our officer Smith's dad, Harold Smith, passed away. Thank you, Mayor, for going up there and making contact with him. He's doing good. He's been off and he'll be coming back to work. So that's it I got. You got anything?
Anything for the chief?
I just like it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Since the last time we met, we've made 42 total calls. 21 of them in the village, 10 in the town, 2 mutual aid, 5 at Attica Correctional, and 3 at Wyoming Correctional. So the mutual aid, we were requesting mutual aid to go over to Alexander for a CO alarm. Been talking with them guys over there. They're looking to be calling us more because they're hurting on manpower. So I told them I'm always happy to help. We got guys that are willing to do it. We were requested to the Varysburg Fire District for a skid steer fire. We sent 2 trucks up there. Ended up being out by the time we got up there. Then obviously we spent a week up at the correctional facilities for some exposure calls to an unknown substance. As I've mentioned before, and Eric, since you're new, for our ambulance, we only go up for guards and civilians. The state has a contract with Wyoming County EMS to handle the inmates. But when they're out of service and they go to Genesee County for mercy, when they're out of service, we're the next one in line. So that is where we'll end up getting called for inmates. But we were up there total, I want to say 7 times in a week. And there was multiple guards. I can't give you an exact number, but there was multiple guards. Channel 13 News actually came down and met with myself, and they went up to the prison as well. I didn't actually watch it or anything, but did a little interview with them and just told them what I could tell them, because there's not much that we could really do. We don't know any of the substance up there. It's all on docks. But out of the 10 MVAs that the PD went to, we went to 4 of them, mainly just to control any fluids leaking, patient assessments, and pretty much traffic control. Did a tour of the Alexander Central School District yesterday with Alexander and Bethany Fire, just to kind of get an idea of what's in the school. Again, we're so close that they get an incident there, we're gonna be gone. We had to make a unexpected repair to the tanker. We had a flat. Got done training one night and somebody's like, hey, the truck's got a flat. And it was right down to the rim. It was a pretty bad flat. Lewis Tire out of Rochester, they came out and got us a new one. They were able to replace it right on the truck. They didn't have to take anything off other than the old tire. So, and thank you to those that showed up and supported our trip raffle, buying tickets and all that. Next one will be this fall for the gun raffle. So, I ain't really got much new. Bills are getting paid and then see what happens in a few months.
We'll see you at the Easter egg hunt, right?
Yes, we will be there. At least I will be there with a truck. If anybody else shows up, that'd be great. But I know that that day we also have some members. They're doing some rope rescue training out at the county training facility. They Attica, Bennington, Colesville, we're all kind of working together on rope rescue stuff, kind of separate from the county. So they got a big training, and some people that are interested in doing it, they can go and do it for, from our department. So then I also got contacted from an employee at the Student Transportation of America, the bus garage out of Alexander, that does all the bus routes and student pickup for the Attica Central Schools. They actually have a bus that they're going to donate to us to use for training. So they, nice little gesture there. Gonna hopefully try to find somebody that I can get a second bus from, because there's a lot of different methods and want to be able to have multiple buses for that, especially since too that we have to have it opened up to all the departments for in the school district. So it's not just going to be an Attica thing. It's Attica, Bennington, Colesville, Harris Corners, and so on and so forth that are in that school district. Plus, I'm actually going to open it up to Alexander, Wyoming, and Warsaw, because they touch our district and they're going to be to the call too, depending on where it is. So, which I know we've already talked to you, right? So it's going to end up getting towed up to the compound and set up there until we can get the ball rolling on the training.
Sounds good.
Yeah. But unless you guys got any questions, that's all I got.
Questions for the chief?
All right, thank you.
All right, DPW, you guys played it out?
Want me to go? Go ahead.
All right.
I'm sorry, I only have one copy. If you want to just look that over quick. At last month's meeting, I discussed about Nevinger.
Oh, yeah.
The easement to get in there. Moran drew up the contract. It's pretty standard, basic, straightforward. Just kind of need your approval to move forward with it. Looks like I only got the one copy, I'm sorry.
Is he's aware of this, or? I know you spoke.
I spoke to him. He doesn't know that we already drew it up, but I will get in contact with him, have him review it. Okay. Go from there.
Anybody else want to see it? This is the agreement for the easement for revenue.
It's got the contract on it too, so.
Yeah.
Eric, you're new, so I'll kind of just run through it quick.
Yeah, please.
We're looking for a new easement to get down to our sewer line along the Tonawanda Creek from Market Street. Mr. Nevinger was nice enough to allow us to do that. So this is just a contract. So we'll have a permanent easement to get down to our sewer line. Other than that, we had a water break back on the 5th at North Pearl and Elm. We took care of that pretty quickly. It was on a Saturday. We did break the excavator on that dig. Justin and done most of it. But we did,
Just get rid of the excavator.
yeah, it's cheaper on fuel. We did get the excavator fixed, it's about a $4,000 repair, but it is back up and running. While the weather cooperated, we got a bunch of sweeping done, spring cleanup, we started on that. And then, of course, the weather tanked, so what are you gonna do? Potholes are at the very top of my list. As soon as the weather breaks, we will be filling potholes. I seen your email, Nate, about the bathrooms. It looks like Thursday in the morning is below freezing, and then it looks like it goes up from there. So we're gonna get the bathrooms open Thursday afternoon. I had the guys down there today getting everything prepped. Shouldn't be a problem getting them running. And then the rest, you know, the extended forecast looks above freezing, so I think we'll be okay.
Nice.
What else did I have? I think that was about it. Avenger. I think that's it.
Did you jot down to take a look at the?
Yeah, I got it right here. Jackson Street guy. Yeah, I'll take a look at that tomorrow. And I'll send an email about it.
All right.
Can you include all of us on that email?
Yeah, I got your email too,
Yeah, my email on the advocate.org.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll copy all of you.
I just like to follow.
I don't, Eric, do you have an email yet?
Yep, he
Yep.
does.
Brenda says I do.
Okay, so Brenda, if you could just give me his email so I can copy all of you on it, what I find there, and I'll send out an email to everybody. Any questions for me? All right.
I don't have a lot to talk about because obviously I talked with Matt and Derek, you know, what I went through with the bid opening. But I did have a question. Eric, Hans used to be on on the DPW side of things with this water plant project. That Chris is on it and there was Hans. Would you be willing to help out with?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get the email from Brenda also, so I can link you with all that information. So
Give me up to speed.
yeah, it's a lot. It's been going on for years. so.
Cool. Real excited.
Yeah. But other than that, we're just getting ready for spring. I've been helping the DPW out with a few things when they need help because they're down the guy. But other than that, we're just kind of chugging along, hoping for the best with the water plant.
Keep the plant going.
Duct tape and Band-Aids.
Okay, we have no liaison because they're doing their meeting next Monday, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So it's on the village administrator.
I've got a couple of things. First of all, there's the justice report. I give you all the letter about that guy asking for more.
Wants an additional dog.
Yeah. I talked to him, listened to him. After listening to him, my feeling is yes. But it comes on to you guys what you want to do.
I didn't know that was a rule.
I didn't
Until I read that letter.
I had no problems with it. I know it's something I have to entertain a motion on. I'd be willing to even make the motion. Do we allow them their third dog?
Fourth
dog.
So I say,
Three,
yeah, got
you
you.
add more than that.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of this either. Their fourth dog, they're gonna adopt another fur baby. Older parents are going to have more children, are not going to have any more children.
I give them kudos for doing what they're
Reaching
supposed to
out.
do,
Absolutely.
reaching out.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a
Clearly,
fence.
the dogs are registered and so.
Yeah, and they get the rescue dogs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're doing a good service
I
for
mean,
the
I don't know if we
community.
want to have them start getting 10, 15 dollars. but-
Right, I think it sounded like this was the last one. I don't think we're gonna have more than 4.
I got 2 and that's enough for me. Bless me.
I would make a motion that we allow them.
Well, I made the motion. You can make the second.
Oh, you did,
Yep.
okay. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's good. We just gotta be able to pet it. He's gotta bring it.
All right, I'll tell them.
Bring it to the next board meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next one is, we need to do, this was brought to my attention last minute. We need to do a resolution to accept Daniel Snyder as the assistant judge, prosecutor. So we need to do that one.
For the assistant judge.
So he's the elected town judge.
Yeah.
We just need to appoint him.
Appoint him as
Yeah.
our assistant, yeah.
I'll make the motion. to do that.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? These are, assistant judge.
All right. Next one, we actually have people who want to be on the planning board. We have 3 new people. We have Barb Higgins, Gina Lutch, who's here, and Hans Walker.
Okay.
So, would you like to?
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion to.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Yeah, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried.
Okay.
Thank you,
and-
Ms. Lepsch. I thought it was strange how we have 3 people on the planning board, the zoning board, and the zoning board of appeals. I just learned that. I'd like to see a little more people involved. So thank you for stepping up and doing that. Appreciate it.
Another one is I received today too, the certificate of insurance and the health permit for the ragtime ice cream. That was a resolution that we had put in the table last month, so now we have all the information we need, so we need to pass that resolution.
So what are they looking to do? I guess.
Come down and just, did you see their setup? They have an old time, old fashioned belt driven, I want to say it's a steam engine.
That's cool.
It makes ice cream.
Wait, hit and miss.
Yeah, hit and miss engine. They had it set up at the A&A Maple. They've had it set up a couple spots, but just recently they had it set up at Maple Sugar Weekend up to Doug Beats's place up there. So what they want to do is come down to the park and just set up a little spot there and just make some old fashioned ice cream, get the kids down there. It's pretty neat. The kids, I've gone up to see it set up a couple times and the kids are pretty excited about it, because he gets them involved with it, him and his wife. So. that's-
There's a little maple syrup on it.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Tremendous.
Did you go up there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
He doesn't miss any.
So I'll entertain a motion to accept their special event permit to allow them down the park to do it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah, okay, cool.
Okay, one more thing before I know I've been talking about, with Justin, so Justin, you can verify anything I'm not doing right, or Matt too. They've been discussing, the FEMA has been about creating new flood maps for Wyoming and Genesee County, and they're expanding, correct, the zone for people to be considered in the flood. And they're going to be having open house for Wyoming residents Tuesday, May 13th at the Arcade Hall, and then and Wednesday, May 14th.
Okay, can you just send email?
Yeah, I'm gonna actually put this on our website because it's gonna be important for our Wyoming residents to go to this, because once this fall gets rolling, there's no change in it. And unfortunately, for those people who are now gonna be pushed into this, they're gonna have to get flood insurance. And even Justin was saying some of those places don't, right, the 1%?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, give you permission, put this on the.
Yeah.
And send it as an alert so people watch and see it, read it, and take note, and go and let their voices be heard. Because I felt like this was kind of behind the scenes, so.
Probably is a little.
So that was my stuff. Thank you.
Anything for the administrator?
Did you-
All right. Is there any old business? New business? New business, obviously Easter egg hunt's gonna be this Saturday, registration 11:30 down at the park. And a big thing, Moo was found. Moo is a dog that's been missing for like 5-6 months, been spotted in Hamburg, Depew. This thing has been on the go. It's actually found by my fellow coworkers out of recycling. The one coworker came inside, I was working inside, and said that, hey, we just found that dog. We think it's Moo. I said, you kidding me? That thing's a legend here in Attica. You got to catch this thing. So they set up a cage, and sure enough, it's been living off the inmate slop for months. Yeah. They tried feeding it some good food. It didn't even want it. It was all filled with slop. Yeah. But it's healthy. It's back home. So it's great news. They wanted me, somebody asked me if I could, if we could do a proclamation for April 4th being Moo Day.
Vintage cow had a.
Yeah.
a Moose Sunday.
This dog was a legend.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, so it's good to see it home. Well, that's all I got for new business. Nope. All right. So moving on. Recommended action, the village board approves the bank reconciliation report for the treasurer month ending in February of 2025.
Motion.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Recommend action, the village board of trustees close the budget hearing at 7:11 PM. And adopts a tentative budget, permanent budget for the village year 2023 and 24 after hearing from all parties. Yeah, wait a minute, it should be 20,
Should be
24,
25,
25. Yeah, or 25, 26.
You need to stop
So, all right. Recommended action, village board of trustees close the budget hearing at 7:11 to adopt the tentative budget for 2025-26.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. All right, so approve the agenda, approve the minutes, treasurer's report, bank balance reports, assessor's report, police schedule, so dog letter, bids for park restrooms. Now, did you guys get on, did you do anything with that?
We did not.
So I think we'd have to, we'd have to approve a bid. Is that even, I don't even know if that's even necessary. So we take the lowest, because we're not the ones actually accepting it.
I think
Would be the Lions Club.
that letter that I sent you all to Maria.
Two of them were non-prevailing wage.
Right, and the one thing was from a
Yeah, they
year
don't
ago,
have-
that price may not be.
We need to send something to Tim that shows them that they don't,
Contract.
they don't need to do prevailing wage. Because, again, what Dave Sarinsky had told me, and he sent, isn't that what Tim's saying? There were one or two of the bids.
Didn't have it on there.
Two of them.
Because it sounded like when I talked to the conference of mayors that we would have to do it, but then Dave had found that thing.
Yeah.
And it's very fine line kind of a thing. But so the thing of it is the one bid is from 2024. Are those prices going to be the same? Because that was the one that was the lowest. So I'm wondering if those prices are going to be higher this year.
Guess we'd have to ask Dave.
Yeah, because he, you know. And then just, once we get that figuring, if it is the same, which I think it may not be, if it is for the lowest, then we would have to have.
Yeah, so we already approved the set amount. So it's not really, I mean, depending on the cost, we can't go above because we've already only approved that set amount anyway. Was it two meetings ago?
Yeah.
So,
15.
We approved 14,000 liters.
Mhm.
yeah, and some change, yeah. 14 some change.
So you just have Tim, you should have said something to Tim and Mark when they were here, because it sounded like one didn't know anything and the other one was like trying to ask.
So I think what we need to do is just have a contract drawn up, just like we have on the other projects. And then, so that they can move forward with it.
But yeah, Tim did bring up all those questions, so.
You know, maybe we could do a special meeting or something. 'Cause I know we want to get going
We
with
want to
this.
get going on it because we would like to have it open by the time the splash pad. opens.
Which-
Because Dave, recent correspondence was like, like to award the bid so that they can get going.
Yeah.
I guess maybe as far as the question of the bid of 2024,
Yeah.
quick call to Dave, just say, hey, this was dated 2024, is he going to hold that price?
Because if he doesn't, then we need to see where he's at
Yep.
with the other two. So,
All right, so maybe let Dave call you, talk to you tomorrow and to let you know about, which way to go on the bid and then provide you the information about the prevailing wage. And then we get with Tim, he can draft up a contract so we can accept this contract.
I do have one question.
Mhm.
Why do we not have a beta changing station? it literally says,
Right.
each one excluded that. Just curious
I guess I
why,
didn't catch that.
why we're not having a.
Oh, yeah, no baby changing station?
Is there an existing one? I don't know if there's.
No.
I don't think there's one there now.
We could even install a baby
I was gonna say,
changing
is
station.
that something we can
Yeah.
install ourselves? Probably a good idea.
Yeah, I'm just, because my children are all out of diapers at this point.
We'll throw a picnic table in there. Yeah, we did it. Yeah, I mean, it's something we could even install ourselves. Yeah, I didn't even know. That's weird. I didn't know.
So I'm sure there'll be some toddlers.
Yeah.
Down
Yeah, ask them about that.
Changing tables.
Yeah. Why that?
I guess my only concern with that would be vandalism.
Just like with anything.
I mean, the bathrooms take a beating.
Yeah.
All the time. So I think that's one of the things that fall down, right?
Yeah.
Do we have one in our other bathrooms?
No, I can't even keep the doors on the place, so, I think it's a great idea, but I think it's gonna, I think it's gonna get vandalized. Because they're gonna be jumping on it.
Maybe that's one of the reasons why they don't put them in.
And
I mean,
it could be, I'm not sure.
To say I'm looking in park bathrooms, but I've never, can't say I've ever noticed one in a park bathroom. But
That's a good point. That's a good point.
something to look into. All right. So if that's it, is anything else we brought forth?
Could I request we go into executive for about 5 minutes?
Sure can.
Please.
Entertain a motion to go into executive.
Can I make that motion?
I'll second.
All in favor? Have a happy Easter, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. Let me ask.
So that's all.
Okay.
Oh, it's-
I'm not taking notes.
I think that's what he's requested.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh. You're in the wrong spot.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Thank you. I'll text Dave and ask him.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's a leave.